Hey, today we're going to check out some of the new features like the hub Sparring Arena. You can now create a private lobby. There's a new pattern called Greaves, which is really cool. And there's a lot more I'll be covering. Please support the channel by tapping the like button below and subscribing if you haven't already. Let's talk about the hub Sparring Arena. First off, you can find this on the left side if you're facing the launch bay. And you can enter this area at any point, even solo. However, I'm not sure how beneficial that will be, since this arena is primarily intended for you to spar or battle it out with friends. If you're feeling inclined to test out your weapons or grenades, though this place is great for that purpose as well. The arena is amazing not just for battling against friends, but also design-wise. You've got a decent sized area with a massive skull at the back of the room and some designs on the right and left side. There's somewhat of a bridge in the middle. Overall, it's a neat area that I think a lot of you are going to enjoy unless you're a solo player, in which case, maybe not so much. Not only have they introduced the hub Sparring Arena, but they've also made it possible for us all to create a private lobby. You can find this option at the launch bay. If you look towards the top right, you'll be able to toggle it on and off. Then from there, you can start up a mission and you'll notice no one can join your lobby because, of course, it's set to private. They've also added a message of the day, so if you tap the button to pull up the battle bars, you will see Armory, Launch Bay of course, and then a new box that says Message of the Day. Yep, and this will also show you some tips for incidents. There's one that recommends that you break open the crates to gain equipment and ammo. There are tips like that. Next, they've introduced a ultra-wide screen support. I don't own a screen that large, so if you're like me, then you might not care too much about this. However, if you have a wide monitor, you're likely going to appreciate this change a lot. Moving on, Saber Interactive has also improved and updated the marking tool. The developers have improved its responsiveness and ensured that unnecessary objects can no longer be marked. The exact note from the developers can be seen here, where they wrote, "The marking tool has been updated, improved responsiveness and comfort of social wheel control with the mouse, disabled unnecessary objects that do not require highlighting and worked poorly with it." You can see that some bugs have been resolved with it as well. While I can't recall any noticeable bugs, they've mentioned that the fixes were minor, so it probably wasn't anything too significant. On a different note, the developers have buffed some weapons, which is always nice to see. I know a few of you were worried that they were going to nerf the multi-melta, yet they didn't touch it, which is great. Anyway, they've increased the charge damage on the Power Fist. And to be honest, I can actually notice a difference from before the update to now because it definitely packs a punch. Right here, you can see it says, Power Fist, damage for fully charged attacks has been greatly increased. Now that they buffed the Power Fist, I'm willing to give it a go and level it up more than I already have. If you've been using this for quite some time, expect it to perform much better this time around. The second buff is for the Heavy Plasma. I haven't leveled this one up at all, but I will go over the changes and show you some clips of it in action after the patch. With that said, while the clip is playing in the background, let's see exactly what they've done to it. Because right here it says, Heavy Plasma, base ammo increased by 5, blast damage radius increased, overheat per shoot drastically decreased from 50 to 30 for charged shoots, and from 20 to 15 for base shooting. Base damage slightly increased by 10%. As I mentioned a few seconds ago, I currently don't have this leveled up, but I plan on leveling it up as soon as possible because it's significantly better now than it was before. The increased ammo and damage are perfect, and the reduced overheat is even better because it gives you more opportunities to use it. I usually switch between a pistol then back to my main primary, so these changes are amazing. Now the last weapon on the list is the grenade launcher. I think a few of you might consider it a nerf, but I don't see it that way yet. The developers have made it possible so that you only can refill your ammo through an ammo box and cannot be replenished from ammo crates. Yep, that has happened. They wrote this right here on the patch notes and said, Aux grenade launcher ammo can now be refilled only with the ammo boxes and cannot be refilled from the infinite ammo cache. So the reason I say it could be considered a nerf is that if you've been using this quite often recently or since the game was released, you're probably going to be upset about such a change. Maybe, maybe they were looking at this thinking it's overpowered to constantly refill the launcher with ammo, so frequently, which could be the reason for that change. But yeah, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on this. Post a comment below and let me know how you feel about it. Lastly, for game balancing tweaks, the med kit functions slightly different now because if you check out this patch note here, it says med stims restore contestants' health in addition to actual healing. The healing now is way better than it was before the patch, so I like this as well. Alright, next for the campaign, the enemies are going to be less aggressive on veteran difficulty, yet their health has been slightly decreased. Right here they wrote, difficulty, enemy aggressiveness on veteran difficulty in campaign decreased for better single player experience. Players' health on veteran difficulty in campaign is slightly reduced to compensate for AI aggressiveness and armor management updates. So if you're currently playing on veteran difficulty and haven't completed the campaign yet, you should be able to notice the differences now. I don't plan on revisiting the campaign since I've already completed on that difficulty, but this will be great for those of you who haven't finished it. The last change on the list is also for campaign. They've made various adjustments to the bots, such as various inhibiting restrictions were lifted, allowing bots to be more helpful and effective while still not beating the game for the player. Bots will now help focus firing zonothrobes when the player attacks them. Heavily ease restrictions on bots finishing of enemies instead of leaving them for the player to reduce annoyance. Bots are now allowed to help with gargoyle objectives, fixed a variety of bugs related to bots getting stuck, fixed a bug where bots can run out of ammo on weapons without a magazine. The big change for me, or at least it was when I was playing the campaign, is the fact the bots would run out of ammo. I thought it was a feature, but I guess not, which is good. I'm happy they made these changes, even though they don't benefit me directly because, again, I've already completed the campaign. They'll surely help out new players or anyone who hasn't completed the campaign yet. I'm assuming this will also address some of the issues in operation modes as well. Speaking of operations mode, there are quite a few changes. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty part of the patch notes, I do want to cover the perfect parry change. If you parry a Minoris, it will now restore your armor. This also applies to their special attacks, as parrying them will restore armor as well. Furthermore, the devs have fixed a bug with blocking and fencing. They've provided a 20 frame window for perfect parry and reduced 10 frames of vulnerability at the end of the animation. Besides that, in operations mode, they've buffed the assault class. Specifically, its base ground pound damage has been increased by 30%. It's kind of sad that I don't use this class at all, but hey, it looks like I'll need to level it up now to try it out and see how things are. This is another awesome change in terms of buffs. The third change for operations mode is that the armor boost is now going to be less common when destroying destructible crates compared to before. They've also mentioned that the cooldown for this used to be 30%, and now it's increased to 60%. Last but not least, we've got the nitty-gritty part to cover, and that's all of the AI and spawn changes. There's quite a lot here, and so let's see what Saber Interactive has done. They made the following changes. Tweaked AI director and spawn rules of chaos enemies in operations mode. Max number of Zingors with shields on the arena at the same time reduced from 10 to 4. Max number of cultist snipers on the arena at the same time reduced from 10 to 3. Max number of Zingors on the arena at the same time reduced from 30 to 20. Max number of rubric marines with bolt guns on the arena at the same time reduced from 8 to 5. Max number of rubric marines with warp flamers on the arena at the same time reduced from 4 to 3. Overall, a significant number of enemies have been reduced, but I am wondering if this will help with performance on PC. I don't currently have any issues while running the game, but I am curious if these changes will affect performance in a positive way. Anyway, aside from the operation mode changes, PvP has also undergone 2 adjustments. The first one is pretty big. There was an issue with spawn killing before the update. They've improved this so that the spawn killing is now more difficult. Also, they have reworked the Vanguard's grapnel launcher for PvP only, of course. Before, you could fully stun a player with it, but now it will stagger and significantly slow them down. Now, as for AI or enemies in general, this is what they've done to the Zonothrobes and some of the other enemy types. The Zonothrobes Psychic Scream has its damage sparsing time increased from 0.5 seconds to 2 seconds to basically prevent one-shot damage. Its damage reduced from 11 to 8, effective range cut from 50 meters to 40 meters, and its cast range decreased by 10 meters. The Termagant's Flesh Borer spray attack damage is reduced from 1 to 0.5, and the Flash Borer from 0.3 to 0.1. The Tyranid Warrior has its projectile damage decreased from 0.9 to 0.6. The Rubric Marine with Warp Flamer sees its icon of flame damage cut from 9 to 6. Flamer Burst from 6 to 4 per shot. Flamer Shooting from 6 to 4 with a 10% health reduction. The Rubric Marine with Bolt Gun has its spray attack damage reduced from 1.5 to 1. Precise Shot from 4 to 2. with less frequent teleport usage and a 10% health reduction. The Zonger with shield has had its HP greatly reduced. The Carnifex rage phase now makes it faster, taunts less frequently with a fixed Cone of Thorns attack. The Hive Tyrant's health is slightly increased, and its resistance to explosives and melted weapons is boosted by 20%. That right there is big. Well, it's big for me anyways because I use the Melta quite a lot. But anyways, we're now going to discuss customization. They've added a new pattern called Greaves, which allows you to customize the legs differently by choosing 2 different colors. One for the thigh and one for the calf. Also, the Vanguard Relic right Greave part can now be unlocked at 29 victories instead of the previous 36. In terms of bugs, they've fixed the icon colors for Administratum Gray, Auroric Armor Gold, and Celestra Gray. But that's not all, because they've also resolved several issues where the default colors were incorrect for certain chapters, such as the Iron Warriors. Lastly, on the patch notes, the developers have fixed several issues preventing progress in some levels, sorted out a bunch of minor collision problems, tweaked the dust storm density and duration for the ballistic engine operation, adjusted the Helldrake's fire timing on the bridge, and just several other things, as you can see right here. There are some general fixes as well, but I didn't see anything mentioned about crashing or any sort of connection issues when joining, so it seems those problems haven't been resolved, which isn't good for those of you who have been experiencing those specific issues. Maybe they've been resolved without mention since they've done some server maintenance, potentially, patching the issues quietly. I don't know, you guys would have to tell me, so let me know in the comments below if it has been resolved. So now, what do I think about this patch? Is it good or is it bad? I think this is a great patch, considering they've buffed several things. Maybe you will not find the Vanguard nerf, and I say it's a nerf because I feel like someone out there is going to say it, so I might as well say it too. It probably is a nerf for some of you, but I don't think it is. It does make sense why they decided to do that, but as for the other changes like the new pattern or the other, stuff for the armors, they of course have made some adjustments towards enemies. They've increased the bots' activity so they're actually helpful now. I mean, overall, how can you hate a patch like this? Again, maybe you will hate it because it probably hasn't resolved any of the connection problems or some of the other issues like crashing, like I've mentioned like a few seconds ago. So there is a case of that, and if that is the case, I hope you guys will let me know down below in the comments if you are still experiencing those specific issues. Now, I haven't experienced those recently or at all, but if you have, it would help out so much so that I can relay that information to other players here, and we all can kind of know what's going on. Anyways, with all the information being said, this is your Space Marine 2 news. We're now going to check out the top 3 comments. If you guys would like to be featured in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below. The first comment is by Secure Path 5681. Space Marine 2 doesn't feel woke by any means. It has a diverse group of characters, yes, but they don't feel forced, and each character feels like they belong where they are. And I absolutely agree with all of you guys. Actually, the rest of the comments here that talk about this specific, if you guys do not know what we're talking about, check out the previous video. The second comment is by Lucifer or Lucifer 4940. This player said, "The boy who cried woke is essentially all you hear now." The last comment is by Nair090. Honestly, no, I don't think the game is woke. I just thought it was diverse cast, which is cool to see. Plus, let's be honest, the game is centered around a bunch of big armored manly dudes just shooting things. Not sure that fits the typical description of woke. And yes, I absolutely have to agree with this one as well. You guys are correct on all of those comments. But anyways, those are the top 3 comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.